Hello everyone, welcome to this third session of the 10th Universidad de Chile, Habitat Circular, Innovation at Building Materials Level. I am Ingrid Soto, DAPCO EPD Program Manager. This program is administered by EDM, the Center for Building Research and Innovation in the School of Engineering at Universidad de Chile, and also is co-administrated by CDT, the Technology Development Corporation from the Chilean Construction Chamber. The program is also supported by all our members: DAPCO Member Platinum 2014, CAP and CANAUF, DAPCO Active Leaders, CAP, HERDAU, SODIMAC, TRANSEX, and ACMA, and also our founding members that have been working with DAPCO from the beginning of the program. In this presentation, I will talk about sustainability of products. Today is an attribute required by the local market. We have the incorporation of Chile to the OECD, specific actions leading to sustainability growth, change at consumption and production patterns, increased need to innovative business model, change in environmental regulations such as draft law on extended producer responsibility or recycle law here in Chile. Also, a strong proliferation of national and regional programs such as the National Sustainability Building Certification Program or the Sustainable Construction Innovation from Corfo. And finally, a strong tendency to analyze sustainability in the value chain. In this context, we are wondering, how are we facing the life cycle of buildings? Nowadays, sustainability has evolved beyond corporate boundaries to cover services and products. It's important to say the buildings are mass consumption products, and their life cycle they consume resources, making a major impact. So, currently most of the initiatives are aimed to reduce the impacts during the operational stage. This don't place other stages on the life cycle of a building that have a significant impact. In other words, we are concentrated all the efforts on one simple stage, for example, on all the initiatives related to the energy efficiency, and we are ignoring the others. It is estimated that 20% of the impacts are associated to product stage, but we know that this number is conservative, considering that during the operation, reinstall products with an incorporated impact for its production and transportation. In this way, we are not viewing the life cycle as an interrelated cycle. The problem is that the ignored stages are associated to the building production chain, and therefore involve a huge number of companies that today are not putting in value their sustainability attributes. So we have an opportunity, the opportunity of making the building value chain visible. So we are talking about transforming the supply chain in a value chain. When all companies involved in the creation of shared value, the supply chain transforms into a virtuous cycle. How companies add value through sustainability? At this point, it's essential to highlight the environmental accounting, which is possible through the environmental communication. So the CLARE is key to companies to begin to add value to their products. How this sustainable value is transferred along the steel supply chain. For example, in this particular case of steel in Chile, we have different actors, a diversity of actors in the market. So, from the first actor, the large enterprise to the end user, we have to transfer the value along the STEAM supply chain. And for that, we have different sustainability strategies. And for understanding a better way these strategies, it's important to know and to consider the context of the problems of sustainable building in Chile. At first, we have a lack of knowledge about the supply and value chain as our view. Second, focus on specific sustainability practices. As it says, for example, on specific stages. A third place, a lack of a standard method in the evaluation of sustainability, a lack of quantitative evaluation system, and related to this, a lack of local databases. In this context takes place DAPCO, Environmental Product Declaration Program for construction materials, according to ISO 14025, and its mission is to strengthen and encouraging sustainable construction market transparency by declaring the development, selection, and disposal of construction products at the end of its useful life, promoting the life cycle perspective in construction. DAPCO has a structure. At first place, we had an advisory council. It is composed of institutions that have a say in the formulation of the rules of the program. Then we have the sectoral panels for each product category, where companies involved mainly looking for the formulation of the product category rules. Then we have companies providing materials, state and contractor, professionals and students, offices of architecture, engineering and construction, and finally consultants. Through this structure is how form is given to the program in order to establish the rules of DAPCO and the formulation of the product category rules. The product category rules, the PCR, is a set of specific rules, requirements, and guidance for developing environmental product declarations for one or more product categories. This according to the ISO 14025. Then we have the analysis, the life cycle assessment, LCA. That is a compilation and evaluation of the inputs, outputs, and potential environmental impacts of a product system through its life cycle, according to the ISO 14040. And finally, we have the declaration, the Environmental Product Declaration, EPD, that provides quantified environmental data using the 4 parameters and, where appropriate, additional environmental information. It's relevant to say that the EPD are a kind of summary of the LCA, which will contain the main impacts associated with the product, according to the PCR. The EPD are a eco-label type 3, and it must be verified by a third party who supports the proper application of the standard and the product category rules. At the eco-label, at the EPD, we will find information about the program, about the enterprise who is declaring, about the product declared, the PCR use, the validity, also the information about the institution who is verifying the information, then a product description, the application, also about the LCA as a scope or system boundaries, then the life cycle stages, and the most important, the impacts. So, if we look at our scheme again, we can say that the EPD are an effective way of transferring the sustainable value along the value chain, from the first actor, the large enterprise, to the end user. At the specific case of steel, we have the opportunity to strengthening the local market. Today in Chile, we have an important entrance of import products. And in this context, is relevant start to declare. The EPD contributes to make a register of standard products and also allows to ensure the traceability from manufacturer to the end user. Also, we have the opportunity to make an assessment of the industry impact with a life cycle perspective. Generated the value from the large company to the end user. So, if we focus on the problems of sustainable building in Chile, we already have the tool, the EPD, but there is still one problem remain, the lack of local databases. According to that, the project Ecobase Construcción take place. Ecobase Construction. Its main objective is implement and promote a technology platform developing a database of environmental information for the main materials used in construction under the LCA methodology. Ecobase is a project supported by Corfo, the Production Development Corporation of Chile. And as a first step, Ecobase talk about the creation of national inventories. Then, as a second step, we have the design building, simplify LCA tools, preliminary design tools, LCA integrated with CAD design tools. Then we talk about materials and products, and here we have all the eco labels, type 1, 2, and 3, the environmental product declarations. Then, as a fourth step, we talk about sustainability assessment tools in buildings. Here we have the certifications. And finally, we have the public policy, legislation, regulations, incentives. This is the structure of Ecobase. The project had different actors. As principal, we have the Environmental Ministry, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, MIMBU, the Chilean Construction Chamber, and the Institute of Construction. As a beneficiary is the Universidad de Chile, EDM. As implementing partner, we have Fundación Chile and CDT. Then the offerer who will be administrate the tool once it's finished. We have the Environmental Ministry and the Chilean Construction Chamber and also the Institute for Construction. And it's very important to say that the final beneficiaries of this project will be all the building industry companies. Then we have the product categories. Ecobase is working with 5 category products: steel, wood, concrete, plasterboard, and brick. And for each one we have a series of different products. For steel we have reinforcement, concrete bars, and roller steel profiles. In wood we have structural impregnate wood, OSB, MDF boards, plywood, and chipboard. For concrete we have cement, concrete mix H30, concrete mix H40, and mortar. For plasterboard we have a standard gypsum board, fire resistant gypsum board, water resist gypsum board. And finally we have structural bricks in the brick category. So, in the regulation of data process, it was very important to visualize the process diagram for each product category. This is an example and is the result of that regulation of data process. We can see the different inputs and outputs for the case of concrete. And it is one diagram for each category product. It's important to say that Ecobase considered the life cycle from cradle to gate. For you can see at the center rectangle the each process unit with the elementary information that generates the final product, in this case the concrete products each 30, each 40, and mortar. So here we have the preliminary result for Ecobase inventories. This is one of the impact categories evaluated in Ecobase. This is global warming potential. At this point, it's very relevant to mention that there are different functional units for each product, so they are not comparable each other. For analyze, we can take the case of concrete. We have 409 kilograms of CO2 for 1 cubic meter of concrete mix H30, for example. And in this chart, we can see that the cement process it is the most contributor to global warming potential in both cases, the concrete mix H30 and concrete mix H40. And we can analyze in the same way for each product category and also for each impact category evaluated in this research. So, how Ecobase will benefit large company and small and medium enterprise? For the first ones, assess their environmental impacts, and for the second ones, know their environmental impacts. Also, Ecobase will allow the identification of hotspots, reduce environmental impacts, and improve competitiveness. Ecobase will provide an environmental platform that will benefit all the building industry, allowed it to calculate as a simplified LCA their associated impacts. So, what's next? For the future assessment of the incorporated impacts, a structural system contributes 50% of the embodied energy in a building. And if we took the preliminary result of Ecobase and we compare with international benchmark as the numbers of the Athena Institute of Canada, we know that our results are still higher. Anyway, we took that result of 1 cubic meter of concrete and used into a building. In this case, we work with the second building in the world with an environmental building declaration, the Lafarge Innovation Hub. This building had 1,147 cubic meters of concrete, and if we applicate our result of Ecobase, we have 471 tons of CO2. Imagine that is just for one building. But what does it mean, that amount? Just 1 ton of CO2 is equivalent to one car working 110 hours at 60 kilometers per hour. Saying in a different way, to eliminate 1 ton of CO2, we will need 250 trees transforming CO2 during 1 year. So, just for neutralize one building, just math. If we visualize this, we can see the relevance of measure the impacts of buildings with a life cycle perspective. And for that, we have these tools, the environmental product declarations and Ecobase as an environmental database information. And both help to transfer the sustainable value, transforming the production chain into a building value chain where everybody wins. Okay, this was the presentation. I remind you to watch the next presentations in our 10th Universidad de Chile. You will be very welcome. And thank you very much for watching this. Bye.